Should anyone present know of any reason that this couple should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Come on, everyone, let's help this girl out. What about you, sir? You look pretty upset. Here, I'll say it first. I object. Hello? Anyone? What the? This piece is called The Unequal Marriage by Vasily Pukarev. The artist came from humble beginnings, and this painting was his way of revealing the uncomfortable truths hiding beneath the veil of money and power. But why did he have to do it by creating the most infuriating painting possible? Well, it's because this time it was personal. We're placed in front of a wedding ceremony surrounded by a group of guests in what appears to be a church. Out of the dim room emerges a bride. She's soaked in a glowing light from above, revealing her youth and innocence. A wreath of flowers adorns her head. A veil lightly flows down her back. Her hair falls in ringlets just below her collarbone. Her jewelry sparkles in the glowing light that illuminates her pale skin. Everything appears to be prepared and in place, except for the bride herself. And once we connect with her solemn expression, everything on the girl's body begins to feel heavy on her petite frame. Her body slumps forward. She barely grips a candle in her gloved hand. Will she absent-mindedly drop it and set the whole place ablaze? Her red-rimmed eyes give the impression that she's choking back tears and indicate how much she's been crying up until this moment. Her face is steeped in hopelessness and despair. This is the face of someone at a funeral, not their own wedding. She reluctantly reaches her hand toward a hunched-over priest as he attempts to place a ring on her tiny hand. She appears distant, but ultimately resigned to a fate that she clearly wouldn't have chosen for herself. And then there's the charming groom, who frankly looks like he has a you-know-what stuck up his you-know-what. His body is so rigid that he could be mistaken for a live corpse. The candle he holds in his hand is just as upright and rigid as he is. He wears a cross around his neck and a badge on his jacket that were awards given for continuous civil and military service. These likely indicate that this man was of high social status and was also likely wealthy. His eyes shift to the side to peek at his bride.
Ew.
His face is void of any emotion. No love, no affection, nothing. The callous look in his eye is a stark reminder of what marriage was for many people in the past and still is for some. A contract that allows for the transfer of goods and property. She is quite literally the property, and her parents have likely chosen this path for her. This couple is opposite in almost every way: demeanor, social status, not to mention stage of life. How will her life unfold once she leaves this church? Will she at least be financially fulfilled like her parents envisioned? Speaking of, where are her parents? And who are all these people behind them? Settle in and grab some popcorn. Things are about to get freaky. So it's true that many of these people look a little odd. Who can blame them? It's not the best of circumstances after all. But this man in the corner is particularly interesting. Maybe you recognize him. This is Vasily Pukarev, the artist of the painting. He stands with his arms crossed over his chest, looking at the groom with disdain. So the artist added himself to his painting to emphasize the point that he disapproves of unequal marriages, right? Wrong. Well, I guess I should say not exactly. He's looking at the groom like that because this old man is marrying his love. Let me explain. In 1907, an artist named Vladimir Suhov created a drawing of a woman named Praskovia Matveevna Vorontsova. It was accompanied by an inscription in the bottom left that reads, Praskovia Matveevna Vorontsova, from whom the artist Pukarev did his famous painting Unequal Marriages 44 years ago. Mrs. Vorontsova lives in Moscow in the poorhouse. Yes, you heard that right. a poorhouse. The story goes on that the artist Pukarev was in love with Barentsova, but wasn't wealthy enough to prove himself as a qualified suitor to her parents. He was born to a poor peasant family and had just recently graduated from art school at the time. His new artist salary was clearly not enough to impress the girl's parents, and as for the girl, she became a widow at a young age, and judging by the fact that she ended up residing in a poor house later in life, her marriage was neither emotionally fulfilling nor financially rewarding. Things get even freakier when we take a peek behind the groom's shoulder. We see an older woman, which shouldn't be weird. Older women went to weddings back then, right? Except the wreath of flowers on her head is eerily similar to that of the young bride's, and she's wearing a white dress. Okay, dress is a bit of a stretch. Maybe it's more of a sheet. She looks at the old groom with a cynical stare. Another similar-looking woman stands to the left of the painting and seems to be behind the priest, a very peculiar place for a guest to be watching the ceremony. The strange placement of this woman supports the idea that these women could be ghosts. Maybe this white sheet not only hints at a wedding dress, but also a burial garment. Are they deceased brides of the groom watching with wary eyes as they relive a moment they're all too familiar with? Or could they be ominous representations of the young bride's fate? But this definitely throws a wrench in the mix. This is a sketch of the piece Pukarev did in the same year. What's interesting is that some of the people in this version look very different. Specifically, the cross-armed man in the corner, who's almost certainly a different person than who we saw in the previous version. Some believe this is actually Pukarev's friend who had a similar event happen to him. He was in love with a girl who ended up choosing another guy over him. The chosen man was wealthier and older than the girl, but by a much more modest 13 years. It's unclear whether the marriage was her choice or her parents', but either way, the couple ended up having children and went on to apparently have a happy marriage. According to this explanation, once Pukarev's friend saw that this painting was inspired by his suffering, he told the artist to remove him from the work immediately. This theory seems like more of a stretch given the groom still seems much older than his bride, certainly more than 13 years. Pukarev took a risk with this piece. He made a bold statement about power and money, and the public was more than ready for it. Everyone loved this painting. It even inspired other artists to make their own versions. Legend has it that after the painting's reveal, all of the elderly grooms decided to call off their weddings to their young brides. Whether or not this is true, it's undeniable that this piece made a huge impact. Not because of a wealthy old man, but because of a young girl that told everyone exactly what they needed to hear, with only the look in her eyes. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you when— Wait, do you enjoy relaxing? Do you enjoy coloring while you're relaxing? Check out my coloring book called The Van Gogh Coloring Book. You can get it right now on Amazon. I'll include my affiliate link in a pinned comment down below if you want to pick one up for yourself or someone you love. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.